Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming, attending this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the Town of Pelham. This hearing of the Committee of Adjustment for the Town of Pelham, everyone present will be given an opportunity to comment on the applications being heard. Please address your comments through the chair. This public meeting has been called to satisfy the requirements of the Planning Act and Council bylaws. Notice of this meeting has been given by prepaid first-class mail to all persons listed as owners in the last revised assessment roll within 60 meters, 200 feet, of the subject properties. In addition, a public notice sign has been posted on the lands. Agencies commenting on applications may request that certain conditions be imposed should an application be approved. Voicing objections to these conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. The purpose of the application and relative correspondence will be heard, following which the applicant will be given an opportunity to address the application. Any person concerned with the application will then be given an opportunity to speak. Please come forward to the microphone and the podium. Please state your name and mailing address for the record. At the conclusion of the discussion, the committee will render a decision and advise of any applicable conditions. Specific wording for conditions will be determined by the committee following the public portion of this meeting. All interested parties are invited to be present. Copies of the decision will be mailed to the applicant or agent and to any other person who files a written request. There are colored forms in the back counter. Please fill one out, and they'll be collected and they'll be used to mail you copies of the decisions. Any person, corporation, or public body has the right to appeal either the decision itself or the conditions of consent to the local appeal body within 20 days of the decision for minor variances and with 20 days of the mailing of the decision for consent applications. Your panel today consists of Sandra Marsh to my far left, Bernie Law to my immediate left, our Deputy Clerk of the Town of Pelham, our Secretary of the Committee of Adjustment for the day. Sitting at the podium is Nancy Bizzato, who is the Clerk of the Town of Pelham and also Secretary Treasurer of the Committee of Adjustment. And to the left, sitting over there, is Curtis Thompson, a member of our Planning Department. I am Don Cook, and I'm the Chairman of the meeting for the day. Does any member of the committee or the panel have pecuniary interest in accordance with the Municipal Act, Conflict of Interest Act, if in any of the applications being considered at this hearing? Sandra?
I have none.
I have none.
And I also have none, Madam Secretary. Holly, are there any requests for withdrawal or adjournment of the applications being heard today? Okay. Madam, Holly, could you please read the summary of the planning report?
Yes, I will. Committee of Adjustment hearing, Tuesday, January 28th, 2020. Please note, no decisions have been made prior to this public meeting. This presentation is based upon the Town of Pelham's Planning Department report and analysis. All comments received from commenting agencies and the public have been forwarded in full to the Committee of Adjustment members for their consideration. Please note, application file A4/2020P 795 Canberra Road has been rescheduled to February 4th, 2020. Application for minor variance, file A22/2019P 250 Canberra Road. Excerpts from Planning Report. The subject land is located on the south side of Canberra Road, lying east of Effingham Street, known municipally as 250 Canberra Road. The minor variance application requests relief from Section 7.7A, max accessory lot coverage, seeking 2.7%, whereas 1% is permitted for the detached garage and shed. Section 7.7D, max accessory building height, seeking 5 meters, whereas 3.7 meters is permitted for the detached garage only. To date, the following comments have been received. Public Works, that the applicant submit a drainage plan addressing how the stormwater runoff from the addition will be addressed to ensure that drainage does not negatively impact neighboring lands. Building, Separate building permits will be required, one for the existing 5 meters by 9.1 meter storage shed at the southwest corner of the property and the proposed detached garage addition. Niagara Region. No objections, provided the garage addition will not contain any bedrooms, plumbing, or living space. Public comments. Please note no new comments have been received since recirculation. Please note, committee members, we did receive this morning a letter from a neighbor withdrawing his previous objection to this application. Public comments were received prior to this recirculation for September 10th, 2019. As noted, those comments now have been withdrawn.
One of the things, the chairman, I forgot to do is ask, is there any member who is representing the owner on this? And if there is, would they please come and join us over on the table over there? Please state your name. Mr. Barber, thank you. Like I say, the chairman forgot. Yeah, push it down and
So you push it, okay, there we go. Yeah. Todd Barber, Forest Green Design and Build, and I'm here with the owner, Frank Saravelli. We are the designers and the agent for the owner.
Great, thank you.
do you have any comments you wish to add?
I'm not finished.
Oh, you're not finished yet? I thought you were finished. I'm sorry.
If that's okay with you, Mr. Chair, I would like to read the 4 tests. Okay, is the variance minor in nature? Increasing the accessory building height to 5 meters appears minor given the rural residential context. The 5-meter building height, when paired with the proposed footprint, should not negatively impact adjacent neighbors, particularly to the west. Increasing the max accessory lot coverage to 2.7% is minor overall given the parcel size and the ability for the subject land to continue handling stormwater runoff without negatively impacting adjacent lands, subject to the adequate grading and drainage plan as requested by town engineering staff. Is the variance desirable for the development or use of the land? The variance request to increase the accessory building height and accessory lot coverage is desirable for the property as it allows for enhanced storage and use of both the facility and property. The variances are also considered desirable for the surrounding neighborhood as the proposed garage extension will not negatively impact the neighborhood's built form and cultural landscape due to its scale, orientation, and massing. Does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? The design justification letter provided with the application was meant to address planning staff's previous concerns over policy E1.5. Regarding the increased lot coverage, the applicant has stated the existing accessory building on site do not meet the owner's storage needs. The proposed use of the building accessory to a single detached house is permitted in the specialty agricultural designation of the official plan, and the policy does permit uses which are compatible with agriculture. Given the size of the subject land, the proposed lot coverage should not in and of itself conflict with any notable official plan policies, considering the proposed height and scale of the building, which is now in planning staff's opinion more appropriate for 250 Canberra Road. The increase in accessory building height to 5 meters should not compromise any objective of the official plan, particularly policy B2.2.7, which speaks to the rural character of Canberra Road corridor. The variance for the 5-meter accessory building height is considered appropriate given the neighborhood's local context and meets the general intent of the official plan policies. Does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? The design justification letter states that the current residential zones are permitted to have 10% accessory building lot coverage. However, this is not relevant because the subject lands are zoned and designated agricultural due to its location well outside the urban settlement areas. Agricultural zone properties are limited to a 1% lot coverage for building accessory to dwellings. The subject land is still large enough and capable of adequate handling normal stormwater runoff events, private septic system services, and maintaining open space for private amenity areas. The size of the proposed accessory building height to 5 meters is appropriate given the immediate rural residential context and associate building footprint proposed at that height. Ample amounts of open space are available on the site to accommodate the existing private sewage system, landscaped amenity areas for the residents, and stormwater runoff resulting from the increased accessory building lot coverage. Planning staff is of the opinion that the application for increased lot coverage and building height satisfies the Planning Act, is consistent with provincial policies, the regional official plan, and complies with the general intent of the town official plan and zoning bylaw. Planning staff is of the opinion that the application meets the 4 minor variance tests laid out by the Planning Act, is consistent with provincial policies, the regional official plan, and conforms to the general intent of the town's official plan and zoning bylaws. The subject to the conditions, planning staff recommend that application file A22/2019 be approved. The following conditions are suggested: that all necessary building permits are required prior to construction commencing to the satisfaction of the chief building official, and shall not be approved for living accommodations or plumbing within the accessory building, and the reconfigured gravel driveway does not extend any closer to the raised tile bed that is currently proposed. A building permit must be applied for with respect to the existing 5 meter by 9.1 meter storage shed located in the back south corner. A building permit will be required for the proposed detached garage addition. The applicant must submit a comprehensive overall lot grading and drainage plan to the satisfaction of the Director of Public Works.
Mr. Barber, you have anything to add to the, or do you have any objections to the planning report?
Well, through you, Mr. Chair, I think Holly did a great job running through all the particulars. I did want to mention that we had made some iteration changes to this application after the first application. We had post discussions with the neighbors and have adjusted the building design considerably, and that's one of the reasons why Mr. Woods put in his letter of support. They were very happy with the outcome. So the building got reduced in size and in orientation to address all of their concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Barber. Any comments or questions from members of the panel?
I guess my question is the holding tank from the stormwater runoff size. How many liters will this tank hold?
Through you, Mr. Chair, the proposed stormwater solution is not a holding tank. It's a groundwater recharge system. So in Font Hill, where soils are made up of a mixture of sand and gravel, especially in that location, we can introduce a stormwater recharge. So it's more of a capacity area where it will allow the water to slowly percolate back into the natural course of the ground.
That answers my question. Thank you.
Once again, the chairman is not doing a very good job today. He forgot to ask, are there any members of the public who wish to ask questions of the applicant or have any comments on this application? Seeing none. Committee, are we ready to make a decision? If so, can I have a mover and a seconder?
I'll make a motion.
Sandra Marsh, seconder?
I'll second that motion.
No, hold a second. We better have somebody read the blurb here.
File A22-2019P, 250 Canberra Road, Pelham. Application for relief of Section 7.7A, maximum lot coverage accessory to permit a maximum lot coverage of an accessory building of 2.7%, whereas the bylaw permits 1%. And application for relief of Section 7.7D, maximum accessory building height to permit a maximum accessory building height of 5 meters, whereas the bylaw permits 3.7 meters, is hereby granted for the following reasons. The minor variance is minor in nature given the parcel size and the rural residential context. The general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw is maintained. The intent of the official plan is maintained. The purpose is desirable for the land as it allows for more storage. The application is granted without prejudice to any other application in the town of Pelham. The Committee of Adjustment considered the written and oral comments and agrees with the minor variance report analysis and recommendation that this application meets the planning tests for minor variance. The above decision is subject to the following conditions: that all necessary building permits are required prior to construction commencing to the satisfaction of the chief building official and shall not be approved for living accommodations or plumbing within the accessory building, and that the reconfigured gravel driveway does not extend any closer to the raised tile bed than what is currently. A building permit must be applied for with respect to the existing storage shed, and a building permit will be required for the new proposed detached garage addition. Another condition is subject to a comprehensive overall lot grading and drainage plan to the satisfaction of the Director of Public Works for the town of Pelham.
Thank you. I guess we're ready for a vote. All in favor? Carried. Mr. Barber, thank you very much. Mr. Saraval, thank you for attending our meeting. Good luck. Enjoy your new garage. Good place to park your RV. The next application before us is application A3 2020P. Part 5, Registered Plan 59R 61105 Pelham Summerside Mews, and part of Block 4, Plan 59M 432. Madam Secretary, can you read us excerpts from the planning report? Oh, I also forgot. Once again, I'm falling apart here. Is there any member of here representing the client? Please join us. Push the button. State your name. Have a chair.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Kaylin Holmes. I'm representing the applicant, and I'm from Better Neighborhoods, Inc.
Thank you very much. Now, Holly, would you please read us excerpts from the planning report for this application?
Application for minor variance, file A3/2020P, Part 5 on 59R 1605 and part of Block 4. Excerpts from planning report. The subject parcel is located on the northeast corner of Summersides Boulevard and Wellsprings Way in the town of Pelham. The minor variance application requests relief from Bylaw number 3543, 2014, Section 2CI, maximum street setback, seeking a maximum street setback of 3.6 meters for units 11, 15, 21, and 23 of Block D, whereas 3 meters is required. Bylaw number 3543, 2014, Section 2CV, minimum parking lot setback, seeking a minimum parking lot setback of 1.3 meters, whereas 3 meters is required. Bylaw number 3543, 2014, Section 2, CVI, minimum distance separation between townhouses, seeking a minimum setback of 2.3 meters, whereas 3 meters is required. To date, the following comments have been received. Public Works, no comments. Building, no comments. No public comments were received at the time of writing this report. Is the variance minor in nature? The requested front yard setback is minor in nature as the increased front yard is minimal, will maintain a relatively consistent building alignment as originally intended, but will also distinguish the architectural character of Block D. Reducing the minimum parking lot setback is minor overall because it will be landscaped, integrated fencing materials that are shared between the adjacent apartment buildings' balconies, and will help leave space for the internal community mailbox and waste collection area. Reducing the setback between townhouses from 3 meters to 2.3 meters is minor overall, given it will still comply with the Ontario Building Code, and adequate setback is maintained for a pedestrian walkway, privacy, and access for maintenance purposes. Is the variance desirable for the development or use of the land? Increasing the maximum front yard setback for the Block D end units along Wellspring Way is desirable for the land because it will help provide suitable architectural charm to the block but yet will be minimum enough such that its consistent building setback is otherwise indistinguishable in its effort to help frame the public street with building walls. Reducing the minimum parking lot setback is desirable for the lands because it will provide for space for the apartment's waste collection area, the communal mailbox, required parking stalls, all while not harming the public realm by exposing what are generally considered undesirable from an urban design perspective. Reducing the setback between townhouses is desirable for the lands because it will limit privacy issues between neighbors due to the more restrictive building openings under the Ontario Building Code, and facilitate a more compact built form while increasing housing supply through the provisions of additional units and/or unit sizes. Does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? All three requested variances maintain the general intent of the official plan because they collectively seek to facilitate a site layout which is designed in a way to accommodate a large variety of housing types, enhancing the urban design of the neighborhood and establishing an East Vaughan Hill character that is consistent with the site master plan/urban design guidelines. Further, the parking lot and townhouse setback variances help to make more efficient use of the parcel while satisfying accommodating essential services such as waste collection, mail delivery, and emergency service vehicles. Does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw? All three variants requested maintain the general intent of the zoning bylaw because they utilize the East Vaughan Hills form-based code to its highest potential, with minimal refinements requested to help execute the development's division, which is grounded on the human-scaled, walkable, urban character that enhanced its surrounding environment. The variances do not compromise the ability to comply with the Ontario Building Code, parking requirements, manage stormwater runoff, avoid future privacy concerns, supports essential services, and provides adequate amenity areas for residents. Furthermore, the proposed uses are permitted under the EF-MU3 zone and the required number of parking stalls are compliant. Planning staff is of the opinion that the proposal applies with current planning and development principles dealing with the appropriate greenfield development, making efficient use of the designated urban area lands where suitable to do so. The proposed minor variance should not negatively impact the surrounding neighborhood with regards to land use incompatibility, traffic, privacy, and stormwater runoff. In planning staff's opinion, the application is considered an innovative form of compact, walkable urban development, is consistent with the provincial policy statement, and conforms to provincial, regional, and local plans. Planning staff recommend that minor variance file A3/2020 be approved.
Thank you very much. Any comments or anything you wish to add?
Sure. I will just quickly say that we agree with planning staff's report. And also just to clarify that since reviewing the landscape buffer for the parking area, we've been able to increase that up to 1.5 meters, whatever difference that makes at this point. It does make a difference from a landscaping point of view. You get a little bit extra space to have bigger, fuller plants, which I think we all like. Other than that, I can provide answers to any questions that you have.
Any questions for members of the panel? Any questions from members of the public with regard to the applications currently under consideration? Any questions for Curtis? I have none. Okay, yes, Bernie.
I will just ask one question. Is this the ownership of these homes?
Yes.
So snow plowing and so on will be?
Internal to the site, snow will be taken care of in the private lands, in the laneway.
Any other comments?
Okay, second question. Will parking be allowed on the street between the homes and the garages? The laneway at the back?
No, that is a designated fire route. So there will be, along with the required signage designating the fire route, there will be rules in the condominium bylaws that will say that there's no parking there. Not only that, I think there's more convenient spaces on site. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, committee, seeing no comments from the public, are we ready to render a decision on these three variances? Can I have a mover and a seconder?
I'll move.
Bernie moves. Sandra will second.
Is this for granting?
We're moving to grant it. Bernie, is that the?
Application for the relief of bylaw number 3543, 2014, section 2, maximum street setback to permit a maximum street setback of 3.6 meters for units 11, 15, 21, and 23 of Block D, whereas the bylaw requires 3 meters, is hereby granted. Reasons: the variance is minor in nature, as the setback will maintain a relatively consistent building alignment as originally intended. The general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw is maintained. The intent of the official plan is maintained. The proposal is desirable for the appropriate development and/or use of the land, as it provides subtle architectural charm to the block. This application is granted without prejudice and other application in the town of Pelham. No objections were received from commentating agencies or abutting property owners. The Committee of Adjustment considered the written and oral comments and agrees with the minor variance report analysis and recommendation that the application meets the Planning Act tests for a minor variance. The above decision is subject to the following conditions are none. Applications for relief of bylaw number 3543, 214, section 2, minimum parking lot setback to permit a minimum parking lot setback of 1.3 meters, whereas the law requires 3 meters, is hereby granted. Reasons: the variance is minor in nature overall because it will be landscaped and help leave space for the internal community mailbox and waste collection area. The general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw is maintained. The intent of the official plan is maintained. The proposal is desirable for the appropriate development and/or use of the land because it will provide space for the apartment's waste collection area and the communal mailbox. This application is granted without prejudice to any other application in the town of Pelham. No objections were received from commentating agencies or abutting property owners. The Committee of Adjustment considered the written and oral comments and agrees with the minor variance report analysis and recommendation that the application meets the Planning Act test for minor variance. The above decision is subject to the following conditions are none. Application for relief of section bylaw 3543, 214, section 2, minimum distance separation between townhouses to permit a minimum distance separation between townhouses of 2.3 meters, whereas the bylaw requires 3, is hereby granted. The variance is minor in nature, as adequate spatial setback is maintained for a pedestrian walkway, privacy and access for maintenance purposes. The general purpose and intent of the zoning bylaw is maintained. The intent of the official plan is maintained. The proposal is desirable for the appropriate development and/or use of the land as it will facilitate a more compact built form with increasing housing supply. This application is granted without prejudice to any other application in the town of Pelham. No objections were received from commentating agencies or abutting property owners. The Committee of Adjustment considered the written and oral comments and agrees with the minor variance report analysis and recommendation that this application meets the Planning Act test for minor variance. The above decision is subject to the following conditions are none.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. And with that, wait for 20 days. And hopefully we'll be able to proceed with with your building. Well, that's it for today, everybody. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Sandra, seconded. All in favor? Carried.
1 second, just turning off.